All right. I'm going to start this off with saying that I hope you're having a nice day. I hope you have a nice evening. And if you're on the toilet bowl watching this, you're a real American. Anyways, what's the point of this video? Well, I already posted a video with the True West German 226, the original 226, the one that uh, won and lost on the XM for the M9 contract, but they did get someone for the smaller. What was it? The Navy SEALs picked 226 later, but I think they did actually pick up. Wasn't 229 because 229 was later on in 40 and 9 and 37 SIG with the solid steel slide. I think it was a 228, which basically 228 was the shorter version of this in both ways. Picture a Glock 19 size would have been a 228. And then later on, the 228 became the 229 because it had a solid milled slide, like something like this. The original SIG design, the Swiss design, made by West Germany, it's the stamp slide. They bent sheet steel over a mandrel, and they weld on, I believe, the front, and then the actual locking block is an insert that takes up this whole space on the inside, and you can see it here. And that is held in by this roll pin, this massive pin. And so if that ever breaks or wears out, you could always pop that out. And basically, I like the idea, the concept that the whole, since like a trunnion, like an AK, that the whole extractor, the locking block, breech block, if that ever breaks, your slide is still good. You just replace that part. Now, clearly, they don't make it like this no more because it's a work of art. The welding and everything, if you look on the inside, which maybe I will show later, this is the night before that. I'm going to the range tomorrow. But because the purpose of this video is comparing the classic 226 based off the 220, the guns that made Sig Sauer. And we've come, I guess, almost 40 years, a little more, give or take. But Sig is bigger than ever. Optics, ammo, rifles, machine gun, bell-fed machine guns, anything but shotguns. They leave that to Remington and Mossberg. Anyways, but the point is, what the fuck, Sig Sauer? Now you can say, well, this is a polymer gun, and I get that. Polymer guns are many brands to cut cost, cut weight, in some ways better at some things like corrosion, but they're not stronger. It's much easier to crack a polymer frame, especially from dropping, but we're not going to talk about that. However, though, at least with this is completely modular, that the rails and everything could come out the frame, just like this trunnion come out to here. In a way, this was modular. In a sense, modular too for maintenance. The whole trunnion could come out of the slide, and the actual barrel rides in the frame like a penny pistol, right? But false. There's a steel insert that's inside of the aluminum frame, so the barrel actually locks up the steel. And you see that if you want to take it out, you can take out that massive steel insert. So in a way, which makes this aluminum firearm, the weight of aluminum, right, and aluminum be better against corrosion, and better at harder to heat up, if that makes any sense. But the point is, but you do want to keep your rails lubricated on any firearm, especially on aluminum. Anyways, but the barrel, when it tilts, it locks up into a steel insert. So you get the best of both worlds with this design. Also being made in West Germany and then eventually Germany, in the same place. The quality control, when this was SIG, this was original Swiss design SIG, controlled by the Swiss, and then eventually coming to America. That's when SIG was second to none. They were some of the best combat handguns. 220, 229, I'm sorry, 228 and the 226. Later on, you start having a hybrid with the 229 and then the 226, 220 following suit with American uppers, made in America uppers, and then with German barrels and German frames, and then eventually being all American made. So there was different phases. There's also phases where completely made in Germany, not West Germany, but when later on made in Germany. But if your pistol doesn't have German proof markings on the barrel, slide, and frame, later on they're going to be assembled in America, not just slapping together, like putting in all the different parts and everything else. So the checks and tolerances, I would trust the Germans to be more factual, down to the thousandths of an inch. They're Is it necessary though? In the end, no. But when you shoot the original West German 266s, 220s, the fit and finish when you're shooting them and handling them, you're like. Plus with this stamp slide, when you pick it up, you feel it's so solid, but it feels so aerodynamic in your hand. I can't explain it, but you pick one up, you're like, wow, this thing points. It feels so light in the hand for a solid gun. But yes, this is what made Sig Sig. So the 320, okay, great for modularity, great. It was their first polymer striker fired. In a way, this is just 250 though, which they took the hammer off the double action only and put a striker. And let's talk about what the 320 does right. Well, you got great capacity, 17, plus you got 20 round, 20, whatever the fuck. You get some Pro Mags, do 150 round drums, make a rap video. The point is, they kept the same concept with the solid takedown, so barrels and everything is locking in tight. Obviously, modern guns are gonna have rails. Obviously, you're gonna have some more modern advancements with, front slide serration. This one doesn't have night sights. This one I just picked up for dirt cheap, used with 5 magazines, and in the box, everything. This is 2022 production. It's absolutely brand new, and the reason why I picked it up because one, I don't like the 320, and I'll tell you why I don't like it. I'm not saying we'll get to. Do I think the 320 is a good gun? No, I think it's a fantastic firearm. I think it has a great trigger. I've shot them before. I've had one way back in the day. I think an X carry, and I traded it back to the shop. I'm not going to carry the 320. There's not only no manual safety, but even if it had manual safety, it's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is the way it fires. And I understand that there's a lot of hype on the internet about is it safe, or forget about drop safe, but I'm not worried about that. It's more about, because they corrected that, was it safe in the holster? Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have a negligence charge and blame the gun. But I'll say this design is very unforgiving, meaning this is the worst case or the easiest case to have a negligence charge that I've ever seen on any firearm. It's pretty much, and they say it's not a full single action only. I've seen SIG videos, but once you charge this weapon, once you load it and the striker's fully cocked, it's pretty much fully cocked. If anything, if somehow the striker, no Diddy, peace be upon Diddy, if the striker has to come back at all, meaning if it's single action, like the striker's always back, and the only thing the trigger does is move the trigger bar, release the sear, and then whatever is there to it's a firing pin block, but this doesn't have a bit of a traditional firing pin block. That's another issue. But the point is, though, then it would just drop the striker. Being that in the one, there's no dongle like every other striker fired. Glock, HK, Walther, they got the dongle. Taurus, they put no dongle. Now, kudos to fucking SIG. It's a great trigger. I'm not gonna lie to you. The trigger way it feels, the way the gun, I like the way the gun feels better than it looks. When you hold the gun in your hand, when you look down the sights, and I've handled it before, and I've shot them at the range. About a month ago, somebody at the range, you shoot theirs, and it was the compact model, mid-size, and I was just ragging hole. I mean, just right from the first shot. So I think the design is solid as far as the build quality. Two main issues, though. The lesser one would be, parts quality. That's some of the issues that it's not going to happen with everyone, but they have subbed out a lot of their parts, and some of the parts from India, and especially like the extractor and some springs. So how do these things hold up over time? That, I think, is an issue that your mileage may vary, where some fantastically, Some not so good. I had a friend, there's a new SIG, extract to blow out in 2 rounds. Now I get that, anything can happen, but this 1990 226, it's never going to break on me. I mean, I'm not shooting it that much, but I'm shooting it, but not crazy amount of range. But yeah, I'm shooting it. I'm enjoying it. But anyway, so the 320, do I think it's a good gun? If everything's running right, I think it's a reliable, durable firearm and very accurate with a very pleasing, when you're actually shooting it, you're like, wow, this is quite nice. And for what I paid for it, under $300, that was a steal, being pretty much brand new with a bunch of mags. Why don't I like the gun though? Because in the end, it still makes me nervous. Oh, but you're real. You'll be a pussy, bro. One, this one has no manual safety, and not that I need a manual safety on a striker gun. This doesn't have manual safety, but it's got the first long, heavy trigger pull. Right? That's your safety. Okay. All my DASAs, the first pull is the safety, the heavy long pull. And it's not that, keep your finger off the trigger. I'm not worried about that. But, in here, I do. Okay, I knew the chamber was clear, but because it's a 320, I removed the magazine and I checked the chamber like 25 times. The platform should make you nervous. There's so many massive lawsuits, so many police agencies having issues with them going off on video, like in Philadelphia at a train station, or at a mall, I think it was, in the golf cart. There was a police officer in a golf cart. It went off in the holster. The empty casing was in the holster. Like, it was in the chamber still. So when they took it out of it was on camera too, so you can't have it go off, clear the gun, put an empty shell case back in the chamber, lock it up, reload it, and they're like, yeah, it was witnesses everywhere. So, anyways, completely clear. It already was, but now, anyways. So, with no manual safety, none. The manual safety would only stop the trigger engagement. It does nothing with the actual striker in the inside. But let's just see. And it's actually quite a wide trigger compared to the trigger guard there. So being that it has no dongle, any pressure, I mean, I'm just going to go from the side, okay? Just from the side, right here. Let's see how much. I'm already at the walls, ready? I'm at the wall. Well, I'm at the wall. I gotta give it to him, Fred. When you're actually shooting it, that's nice take up. I mean, from a shooter's perspective, when you actually want it to go off, brilliant. There's almost no, if anything, is that even take up? That's the wall? I'm at the wall? From the windows to the wall. So as far as shooting experience, it's at the wall. But from carrying it, the higher chance of negligent or accidental, whatever, this is the highest case. So with no manual safety, here we go. At the wall. It's very easy to go off. I'm not saying that people, thousands or maybe hundreds of thousands of people carry this firearm and have never had an issue. I agree with that, sure. And if I had to, sure, I'd carry it. But I'd rather carry this and have no worries. That's just my friend. I'm not taking the chance. I'm not taking the chance. And that's that issue. As far as actual things going off, the holster, do I think statistic was going to happen? No, it's probably not. Especially this being made in 2022. I think they corrected anything. But the issue also is that's if everything's operating. See, the thing with the design is, if everything's operating fine, I don't see that going off. So, as far as just don't touch the trigger, and the main thing is when it's in the holster, as long as you don't rub in anything at all, it just leaves very little room for error that when inserting the holster, not your finger in a sense, but if anything's near the trigger, and it can happen with any gun, but this one just has the least room of play. Okay, and you can say, well, don't ever do anything. The stupid minor error where maybe you don't even touch the trigger, but as you're putting it in, you overshoot the holster, and maybe you go against your belt, and You got, whatever, something gets caught into the trigger, um, what am I called? Hold on. The trigger guard, thank you. And anything rummaging, yeah, at least there's no room for, very little room for error. But if any of the internal parts break or have any issues, there's not much mercy with this design. As far as the shooting aspect, I think it's the ones I've shot in the past are very nice to shoot. So, anyways, if you're watching this, I'm gonna put. I'm gonna do this in reverse. I'm going to put the shooting side by side of these in the beginning because that's what you came for watch. Then after that, if you want to hang out, and then we're gonna hang out. So it has ambidextrous slide stop release. They're in a nice spot, guarded too. So when you're shooting, you might not accidentally push up and lock your slide back when you don't want it to when you're shooting. That's a nice touch. The trigger, I think, is a great trigger for any gun, especially for a combat duty pistol. As far as the fit and finish, it feels like a solid build in the hand, and the fit and finish, I'm not gonna say I think it's as pretty or as strong as like a VP9. Is HK, although the VP9 not modular like this. The HK VP9 is the better gun as far as build quality. Nobody, and more, when I say better testing, the VP9 is better. That being said, this is a world standard. It's around the world in millions, and modular, plenty of mags, and change materials to aluminum frame and different grip sizes, and change the slide, change calibers. Hey, that's some cool shit. Gotta give it to them. And it's not like this thing feels garbage. Doesn't feel like a Taurus. The issue is I wouldn't trust carrying it. So why the hell did I get it? Well, I like guns. And it was dirt cheap. It was very cheap. And for the condition and for the price. It's my Judas pistol. I'm not going to trust it. I'm never going to trust Judas. But he was still around. So, as a message. So this pistol is here as a message that don't do this. If you do get one, probably get it with the manual safety. But even then, don't let that, I don't know. Would I ever carry it? Probably not, no. Although I was looking at SIG 320 holsters. But I still wouldn't carry this thing. Not in public. Maybe in the woods. Maybe in the woods. That way if it went off accidentally, just me and a squirrel knows. But, yeah, no, I wouldn't be carrying this thing. Yeah, you don't, if this somehow goes off and you don't want to be in a meme. And I guess and it's also not the lawsuit you want to get. But anyways, do I think it's actually a solid firearm? I do. Do I think the build quality's there? Sure. I wouldn't pay $600-700 for a new one. Hell no. And I like this version. Oh, it doesn't have a red dot ready. I don't fucking like red dots. Okay? I don't. There, I said it. I'm fucking with this shit. Anyways, and it's the base. I like the classic line. I don't need all the, I don't need that shit. Just for sub 300, for somewhere between 250 and 3, and it wasn't 3. You figure it out. It's a nice addition. It's a quality made firearm. The barrel quality was very nice. I was impressed with the barrel. I'll give them that. Magazines are pretty much Mec-Gars, made in Italy. Okay, great. Off to a good start. Sights are fine. Great. The actual trigger pull and reset, solid. It's just, I know I'm an old school DASE guy, but I have no problem carrying a Glock or anything like that. But even then, any kind of striker firearm, where you don't have you can't manipulate the hammer when you're inserting into your holster. You should always be mindful anyways, I'm just saying, but when you can't do this when you're reholstering, even if you're not doing this, that long pull, like I'm putting pressure on it. Like I would know if I'm something, you really gotta, that first round, if it goes off, you gotta really want it. You really gotta want it to go off. With Striker Fire, not so much. With Striker Fire with no dongle, even less. Striker Fire, no dongle, and at the wall, yeah. Well, I'm gonna go to the range tomorrow, and then I guess maybe I'll talk a little bit about how it went. But I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna shoot great. It's probably gonna be almost as accurate, maybe equal, maybe better, because in a way, if you look at this design, it is beefier as far as the internals, how much room you have, and these have already been cleared. And the guide rod system is a flat wire guide rod system, and it's a very beefy one. I'll give it that. So, and I'm pretty positive these are plus P rated for constant use. Don't quote me on that. I gotta look at the manual, but it could. I don't know how it would be a NATO firearm if it wasn't plus P rated, because NATO ammo is pretty hot for 9mm. Anyways, my point is this. I don't hate SIG. I want SIG to win. I want Beretta to win. I want manufacturers to make their best shit. The 320s had and still has some issues. I hope it gets completely corrected. However, though, there's just enough. I've seen too many things. From the beginning in 2017, 18, the guy's just smacking the back or dropping it and it's going off. Well, they corrected that. Great. Now the issue is it went from he can go off by dropping it. I'll take the original version. It can go off maybe by dropping it. Maybe. Bad. It can go off maybe by hitting the back. Bad. Now it's like, oh, we fixed that. Great. Voluntary recall. Well, sometimes it might go off in the holster. Maybe. And in the new version of the owner's manual, did recommend the safest way to carry is no round in the chamber. So it is what it is with that. There was another video I saw a state trooper getting out of his car, clearly on camera. His firearm was not out of the holster. He was getting out of the car, like, getting out, and it went off. So there's something with some models, and that's the crazy thing is, I don't know, they don't know which ones in a sense. Because there has been some internal upgrades over the years they've done quietly. And I've seen people compare models from was it 15, 16, 17, 18, they had all different models, and there was quiet little upgrades where they, corrected some things. So in 2022, do I think I'm going to be good as far as that? Actually, I probably think I'll be fine. But being that there was enough of those situations happened, why take the chance? I'll still shoot it, and if ever I needed it, for the house, okay. I have other stuff. I'm just saying, but maybe something you travel with that you don't keep it on you as a backup gun, something unloaded in the bag, just have a couple extra mags, and maybe you go stay somewhere, you have something, and something that you're not carrying, so you just have maybe a mag in it, around the chamber, and you have it as a nightstand or something ready, or almost ready in a drawer, and you go grab it. Okay, good, sure. Good as something to leave behind, maybe. For carry, locked and loaded, it just wouldn't be my first choice. It just wouldn't be my first choice. And I'm not hating on it, because the two problems with it, there's nothing to do with the actual, I've shot them before. I think they shoot actually very nice. I think they're very accurate. And I think they have very little recoil, actually. I think the 320s are great in 9mm for recoil. Not that 9mm has massive recoil at all. I'm just saying comparative within other guns equal in size. It's just that the issues that some of them had, and how do I say it? I already said it. There's very little room for error. And you could say, well, I would never make a mistake. And I wouldn't either, but if that went off accidentally in the holster, or putting in the holster, you got to figure where is it going to happen. And if it's not the range would be the best case. If you're by yourself and it goes off and you're in an apartment or it goes off in public, you're going to be liable. No one's going to care. You could lose your maybe carrying license. You could get sued. You could hurt someone else. Could kill you, hurt yourself. You could do a lot of things, right? Maybe get evicted from your apartment because, hey, no. So, you get what I'm saying? No, like, is it worth any of those chances where you carry 226 and be like, no, I mean, this is cocked. You don't carry like that, but there you go, decocked, and even what better, you could, if I had my other hand here, I could push this down and I could hold the hammer. And if you hold it too, you could let it go slow, obviously, but it doesn't drop on the 226. The hammer is not actually, it's not resting on the firing pin. It's actually is locked right there. It's in front of the firing pin, almost like in a half cock position. Anyways, I digress. I'm gonna go to the range tomorrow. I'll come back maybe. Maybe I'll come back and maybe I will. I'll come back and just talk about how the range went, reliability, etc. I'm gonna put like 115s and 147s through these. I'm gonna shoot more of this tomorrow because I want to break it in. But I'm gonna shoot this too, and I'll do some slow fire groupings. Really just to see the quality as far as the accuracy. I think it's going to do very well. I really do. I'm not blindly hating the 320. I think that SIG is just, over the years, it's not like they're making complete dog shit. It's because they have a lot of innovation, which is great, but they're trying to do it as cutthroat and profitable for them as possible. I get that as a company. But when you hold the original SIGs, it wasn't cutthroat. You're like, wow, that's a fucking... You go hold a West German or a German SIG 226, you're like, that's fucking quality. You look at the internals, you're like, wow. Like they said in Jurassic Park, spared no expense. That's what happened. That Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park 1, masterpiece. One of the best sci-fi movies ever made. Adventure sci-fi, I guess, but it's still sci-fi. Because fucking they're bringing back dinosaurs. Through fucking, come on. That's fucking a theme park of dinosaurs. If that's not sci-fi, I don't know what is. Anyways, Jurassic Park 1, masterpiece. Spared no expense. Great plot. Knew what it was trying to do. Everything perfect. That was original SIG. SIG maybe 20 years ago. Jurassic Park 2, not as good as the first. Still watchable. This SIG, it's like, what are we on now? Jurassic Park 7? You're like, yeah, it's got the name. Jurassic Park 7. Guess what? We're going back to the island. What? Yeah. But this time we're going to go with the Ninja Turtles. Ninja Turtles? Yeah, we bought the rights. Coming this summer. Tyrannosaurus, Cowabunga style. Leonardo, it's a Velociraptor. Chill out, Raphael. Why are you so mad? Fuck these Velociraptor motherfuckers. Oh, God. Oh, what's his name? What's the guy from Jurassic Park? What's the guy actor? Yeah. Samuel Jackson. Man, fuck these motherfucking Velociraptors. He's the voice for Raphael. I don't want these motherfucking Velociraptors in my motherfucking park. Anyways, 6 Sauer 320. I just cleaned it up. I checked the internals. It doesn't look like dog shit. However, though, I don't trust it. I know it's going to shoot well. But the fact that this part of my mind, because even let's just say, forget about carrying. Once this is loaded, if I did load it, if I put it down on the table, obviously I wouldn't recommend loading guns, just leave them on the table. If you're going to take your holster off when you get home, leave it in a holster. It's my opinion. That way, in a sense, Like, yeah, shit, that one's loaded. Of course, you assume every pistol's loaded, but I mean, if you're only gonna have one pistol in your house, if you don't clear when you get home, I would leave it in the holster. I wouldn't just leave it unholstered, loaded. Anyways, the point is, if that one's just loaded, and the only thing that's stopping it is, well, every gun, yeah, but with these, you really gotta want that to go off, and not just the trigger pull, weight, but the dynamics of how it has to happen. With this, and I know you're gonna get guys that are gonna say, "I've had the 320 for 5 years." And I'm not saying I'm not saying 320 can't be safely carried, and if you handle it properly, absolutely can, absolutely can. I'm not shitting on it for it's going to be accurate or reliable. I think it's going to be fine. And then as far as the durability, as far as some of them having issues with dog shit parts from India, that's a real thing. Okay. Now, if they correct that part, then I can't knock any of the durability or reliability issues. But these things are documented. But the biggest issue is that, you know, it might go off in the holster. And here's the other part too. I'm gonna show you this. Okay, so watch this. When this has already been clear, like I said, and it's still cleared. I haven't loaded it. Let's just say 320, right? Good. Anyways, watch the back when you pull the trigger. Watch the back. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Ready? You see that? Why does that bounce like I'm in Los Angeles in the 1990s in a rap video where they're making the cars, they're hopping back when the, in the cars, like Ice Cube when his fucking cars are hopping up and down, you know what I'm saying, though? You know what I'm talking about with the hydraulics? Watch the back. Yeah, why? I don't like the bounce. I don't like that. No other gun I ever had does that. Here we go. Watch the bounce. Bounce it, baby. Bounce that ass. Yeah, that fucking bothers me. That fucking bothers me. And I think that's part of it. Because when this is in the holster, there's pressure on the gun. Right? And if when the trigger's released, the back of the slide kind of goes down and up. Let's watch it again. It kind of goes down and up. Watch. See that? Well, see? Is this releasing the back there? See how it's going up and down? Yeah. So once that's in a holster, in a way, it puts pressure on the slide, and let's say it makes the slide go up in a sense, because up would be worse, because it's like hook. It's the hook is down here. It's the other way. But my point is, the firing, the striker has like a hook like this, and it's kicked under here, and so obviously when you pull the trigger, it goes down and it releases it. The point is, if there's pressure on this. And in a way, it's because there is some play, right? Because you got play in the back here. Like it wiggles up and down. So in a normal gun, you say, every gun has some tolerance. It's fine. The problem is the way this operates and fires, and being that it's fully cocked, and so if being in the holster, in a sense, is separating the upper from the lower with a little bit of play, and not just a little bit of play, but then now you're bumping into it, or in a sense, just being in a holster, it's like torquing. So picture when the gun's in the holster. Okay, in a way, you can have just enough pressure to separate the upper from the lower. Picture like twisting a fucking Oreo. You try to just pull an Oreo apart, but if you twist it, it comes right apart. What if, in a sense, this being in a holster, the torque just gives it just enough? And I'm not saying it doesn't happen on every one, but it's just enough to where it torques it. Switch, twist it, bop it, sick it, and that's real. There's been way too many videos of them going off in a holster. Way too many. And you can say, well, no, there's been way too many of them going off. And you can say, well, it wasn't the right holster. Fuck, man. I could put this in my pants and Uncle Mike's or any of these holsters, man. A fucking leather holster. custom holster I had made. Old man fucking Uncle Mike's. I could put that in that old Uncle Mike's I had for 10 years, and that's never gonna go off. And I said, that one's beat up. I got a new one. There you go. That one's nicer, right? I use this all the time. You know, when I just want to throw in something that, you know, comfortable, maybe for a long ride, and I want some digging in, you know. I got some, you know, more, tactical. Whatever the fuck. The point is, though, like, I would never, bro, throwing a 320 in one of these, because that trigger, like I said, if anything rubs against that, you could get a fucking boner. And that thing goes, yeah. Well, I could. I got an 8-inch dick. All right, I'm going to the range. So remember, I don't hate the 320 for no reason. And not that I don't hate it in a sense. I just don't trust it. And it'd be better if I hate it. It'd be better if this was a piece of shit, like some like older Taurus. Like that thing is gonna break. Absolute garbage. No, the issue is, you don't know, but it might. You know what I'm saying, though? It would be like a girlfriend that doesn't have AIDS, but sometimes she has AIDS. And she's monogamous with you. And you both got checked up. And you're like, we're good. We ain't wearing jimmies. We you know, and she's on birth control. You're just dumping low. We're going, well, yeah. But she's like, listen, sometimes, I don't know the hour or the minute, but once in a while, maybe on Tuesday, sometimes like between like 3 and 3:10 p.m., I got AIDS. Really? I don't even know though, but then sometimes it's on Wednesday at like 7 to 7:01, I got AIDS. And you're like, oh, hold on. But okay, so we're just gonna write down the times, and then as long as I don't bang you during those times, I won't get AIDS, right? Because it goes away, right? She's like, yeah, but the problem is every time it's different. That's what the 320 is. It'd be like a wife that has AIDS sometimes, and the problem is you don't know when. You don't know when. It's impossible to know when the thing's gonna have AIDS. Other than that, I think it's a fucking nice gun.